Welcome, everyone. This is Galactic Storyteller. I am so excited for today's show because we are going to be talking about one of my favorite things in the world, which is consciousness. Did you know that you can transform everything in your life in a matter of seconds? Today, we're actually going to be learning how it's possible to shift any sort of physical, mental, or emotional issue in just an instant and have tangible results. My guest today is Mikael Saflund from Sweden. So we're going to have touch and go technology today. We may have a little bit of stalling. Bear with us. We'll get through it because it usually only lasts a second. But Mikael has been studying communicology. He is trained in various fields of perception, quantum physics, transformation, and consciousness technology, along with matrix energetics, which he'll explain to us in just a couple of minutes what all this stuff means. He's been working for the Swedish government for over 10 years, educating their staff within the judiciary field, such as lawyers, judges, members of the police force. Further, Mikael is an NLP coach, so we have lots to talk about that, because I don't know if you know this, but I am as well. He has a master's degree in entrepreneurship, and he is certified in goal mapping. So we're going to have to see what that means in terms of being a practitioner. Mikael's also a trained actor and director, so we have lots in common there, and I'm so glad you are here with us today. Thank you for joining us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for a fabulous introduction.
You're welcome.
And thank you for having me.
Sure.
Madeleine. Yeah. It's stalling a bit. It's bad internet connection. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
we'll just keep that in mind as we talk back and forth. But it is your evening, and you've been working all day, correct?
Yes, it's evening here. It's 10 past 7 in the evening here in Stockholm. So I live in Stockholm, and I'm at my office at the moment. Yeah.
Perfect. Tell us about your day. Augment your bio for us.
Yeah. Today was a calm day. I was about to check out my boat because it's on land now, because we're approaching winter here in Sweden, and it's getting colder and colder. But today, actually, it was a warm day. So I drove here in my convertible BMW. It was warm and sun was shining.
You have the top down.
Yeah, you have to stretch the summer when you live in Sweden. And then I employed a new member of my staff, and I'm happy about it this morning. So I didn't do any session today.
Okay, so your company is Instant Transformation, correct?
Yeah, I call it Instant Transformation, but the company's name is Consciousness Technologies, because I love technologies in consciousness. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of technologies. It's not only instant transformation. There are a lot of stuff you can work with. And I think it's important people choose what suits them. So we don't go into this is the best or this is the best, because I think it's very important that people choose themselves, because we likes and we dislikes different kinds of food and so on, Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the technologies that you use in your sessions and in your seminars, because you're a teacher all over Sweden and Europe. Yes,
I am. And it's quite simple, actually. It started when Dr. Max Planck, the German physician, he discovered that he had such kind of entanglement with his own experiments. He could affect his experiment by looking at them. Mm-hmm. And he experimented with electric and magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields. It's a huge amount of small particles, which you measure them in quanta. You must measure them in quanta. So therefore, quantum physics, mm-hmm. large amounts of small particles. And the belief at time, this is 1870, was that everything in reality was made from those small particles. So if we could affect small particles by interacting with them, could we also affect reality? That was the question. And in the beginning of the 1909, a group of scientists tried to prove that everything was created from matter, and then from dead matter, the Newtonian way of looking at reality. So they did this famous double slit experiment. And what they prove is that reality it is not physical, it's a wave of potential. And how is that? They did an experiment by shooting small electrons or photons through a small slit in a screen. It had an opening, a slit. And when it passed the screen, it hit another screen behind it, like this, hit the screen. And they were so happy because they had this small bar proving that there were small particles hitting the screen. So they open up a second slit in the first screen and start shooting. And this took a long time. So they weren't even in the room. So they left the room and let the electron cannon shoot particles. So after a couple of hours, they come back and they were shocked. Why were they shocked? Because they didn't see two bars. They expected to see two bars. They saw a lot of bars, standing here. And this was shocking because that pattern is called interference pattern or wave pattern. And that pattern can only a wave create, not a particle. So the particle had behaved like a wave when they were away. So they were totally baffled by this. What is going on here? Because we shoot particles and the particles behave like a wave. So they did a measurement. They measured one of the slits. What is going on here? And then they stayed in the room like Max Planck did, watching the experiment. And now something else happened. When the first particle came, it behaved very strangely. It behaved as it was aware of what was being watched. So it became a particle, and it went through the slits, creating two bars as expected. And the scientists couldn't believe their eyes. So they start thinking about what is going on here. Scientists are smart, so they maybe the particles are so small, so they interact with each other and create the interference pattern, the wave pattern. What is going on? So now they said, let's continue shooting, but we stop measure and we leave the room and see what happens now. So after a couple of hours, they come back, and again an interference pattern. And this experiment was done all over the world. This was 1909, long time ago, over 100 years ago. All of the Western countries in the Western world, where they did science in physics. And everyone had the same results. And why were they so surprised? They were surprised because in science of nature, they had agreed upon that everything is created from dead matter. That's a dogma. It's a dogma. But suddenly, the conclusion was, if a particle is aware of its being watched, does that mean it has consciousness? And the answer was yes. So the dogma didn't apply anymore. And number two, reality, the physical reality as we see it, is only physical when it's being watched. When it's not being watched, it's a wave of potential. The wave pattern. It's a wave of potential. And this was the beginning of quantum physics science. Yeah. It's also from the classical physician called the weird science. Because it doesn't apply to what's happened in the macro, because in the microcosmos everything is random, it's chaos, So from that, a lot of theories have come up that we can affect reality, consciousness, we receive consciousness, everything has consciousness, and we interact with consciousness. The old paradigm from the Sir Isaac Newton's paradigm is that reality is like a machine. It's mechanistic. Everything is like a machine. Animals, peoples, everything is a machine. And we can't affect, and everything is separate. Nothing is entangled. But in quantum physics, everything has entanglement. Like the old wisdom teaching, Vedanta, Vedas, Buddhism, everything is entangled. We are creators and co-creators of the reality. And today you can prove this in the laboratories. You can prove it.
Yes.
So this is very interesting. So from those theories in quantum physics, I learned how to apply those theories through metaphors and so on in our daily life. So we can deal with our health, our lives, our goals in life, our relationships, everything. You can work with everything. And the best thing, most of the time it works. It's fantastic. It's so fantastic.
I think
so
a lot of the ancient cultures, they knew that. I studied with the Nez Perce for 2 years in the Lakota for one. And when we would do our sweats and our ceremonies and things, there's a saying that the Nez Perce have, and it's pretty much, it goes throughout all the tribes with slight variances, but it says Niwa Takwayase, which is we are all one relation. So to them, in their indigenous belief system, whether you are a person, a cloud, a tiny creepy crawly on the earth, you're all connected. And this is stuff that they've known their entire existence. Science is catching up with this.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, because I've interviewed a lot of scientists today, modern scientists, and they all agree upon that what the old culture has always said is today true. It's very interesting, because when they nowadays do science in consciousness or in quantum physics, it's almost like we are in a program. It's almost like we are, maybe some scientists say we live in a virtual reality. This is virtual reality. It's not real. And therefore the particles as they see them has no mass. It's no matter in anything. The atom has spin, and this spin is energy and information, but there is no matter in it. No materia. It's nothing than spin. So what is it? So is it a projection, or what is it? But when we work with quantum physics, applying quantum physics, for instance, if you come to me and you have a pain or something, in quantum physics, we don't see pain as physical. We see it as information. And information could be anything. It could be beliefs. It could be, things that it's like, it's a story, projecting a story, keeping the pain in place. So, but when you become aware of the story, like you have viruses on your computer hard drive, you search it for viruses and you see, oh, there's viruses. And then you have a program that uninstall the viruses and the computer works again. The same thing goes for us, almost the same thing. As soon as you become aware that the pain is information, it has a message to you. It has something to tell you. It's not there by coincidence. It's there because it want to tell you, it does the work for you, want to help you develop and so on. So the thing about it is that it's so easy to do, and you do it not from therapy or something, just from asking open-ended question, open up awareness in the person, and you just have the last question, are you willing to release this? And it is so fast most of the time. There is no guarantee. It's not guaranteed, but most of the time it works.
So the pain is giving its own message. It's helping you. It's not good or bad. It's there to deliver a message. And our job is to be in tune with what that message is so that then we can transmute that.
Yeah. One trap is to analyze what it is. It's a trap, because you're going to do judgment about what you think it is, from polarity, right, wrong, good, bad, and so on. And you want to probably project it on something or someone. But you have to become aware, because we should not do the same mistake as the scientist did or does, is hermeneutical and positivists, explaining and understanding reality. It's a big mistake to try to explain and understand. The best thing is to become aware that it has a message.
Okay.
Can you see the difference?
Yep.
Yeah.
Should we do an example so that the viewers can learn how quick and simple this is?
Yeah.
You up for that?
I think we have to do some more backgrounds.
Okay, let's do that.
And there's a reason for that, because most of us live in a belief system from science that we primarily live in a physical reality, because we have to become aware that we've been taught how to see this reality. Mm-hmm. We don't see it as it is. We see it as we've been taught to see it. Mm-hmm. And I think this is important to talk about before we do the exercises. I always talk about this because we have to become aware of where do we come from? Mm-hmm. What are our beliefs? What do we believe in? Who are we? Where do we come from? Where are we heading? This question everyone asks. So if we don't know where we come from, how do we know where we're heading? Where we should do? What decision we should make?
Yeah, I think that's why religion is so popular, is because it attempts under illusion to answer those questions, those fundamental questions that every single one of us come into this planet with. Yeah.
And I think if we just become aware of the collective story about reality and see that we are part of this story. What if I could shift reality by shifting perception about what this reality is? If I believe this reality is primarily physical, and that consciousness is only chemical physical processes within our brains, and that the brain creates consciousness, then that's my belief. And I'm being taught it is that way. Mm-hmm. But a lot of new experiments show that this is not true. The more truth today is in science is that our brains receive consciousness. It's like we are avatars, receiving ourselves. You've seen the film Avatar. Mm-hmm. And the body, as you said, the meat costume, what do you say? You call it meat costume.
The meat suit. This is our meat suit.
Meat suit. Receive consciousness from, and this avatar has developed brain, of course. The brain is a receiver, and he acts upon the non-local consciousness. And non-local is also a word in quantum physics, which means is consciousness is everywhere. It's not a particular place it comes from. It is everywhere all the time. But you have a phone number or IP address on your computer, receiving your emails and so on, specifically for you. Mm-hmm. IP. So you can receive yourself from the non-local consciousness. Mm-hmm. You are there somewhere. But in this point of view, you're not within yourself, you receive yourself. So what would that mean, and what is the possibility of that? I don't know, but it's very interesting to see it. So the assumption is also that matter is unconscious, but I told you about the double slit experiment. Suddenly matter had consciousness, and that means that we can interact with matter. And if we are created from 2-4 billions of atoms, which are almost every atom has almost 100% space, how can we exist? How can we be physical when everything is space?
I don't know if you've ever been in a deprivation chamber. Have you done that?
No. I
Oh
have
my
not.
gosh. Okay. I've
Tell
gone
me.
into a salt pod a couple of
Yeah.
times, and this is the most amazing experiment. There are these pods that have like 2,000 pounds of Epsom salt. And
I lost you there,
can you hear me?
Madeleine. I lost you.
Okay. These deprivation pods, they have a bottom and then they have a top that closes, but inside you are floating in about 1.5 feet of water with about 2,000 pounds of Epsom salt. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when
Yeah.
you're in the pod and the lights
You're
are
floating.
off, and then they have this beautiful music that's meant to put you in a theta brainwave state. It doesn't take but a couple of minutes before you lose weightlessness. And then when you get really deep into theta, you lose all sense of physical matter. And what you feel is the in-between the particles. The motion and the movement in between the particles, and you realize that makes up more of who you are than your meat suit. And it's an amazing experience because you get to experience yourself as consciousness. It's incredible.
Yeah. Wonderful. I will do that. My ex-wife did it, and she told me it was wonderful to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I will try to do
that's
that.
what we're talking about. That feeling is what we're talking about.
Yeah. So before we do the exercise, maybe I should tell you this: everything we believe, all of us, is a story. Mm-hmm. It's my story of reality. And you mentioned the theta state from the chamber, you said. And theta state is very important to know about, because when we are kids, especially between when we're born and up to 7 years of age, mm-hmm. we are, or our brains are, in permanent theta brainwave state. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? It means we are in a dream state or learning state, because we adapt the environment without no criticism. We just adapt it. So this, from parents, from environment, from the village we live in, the culture and everything. And that it's stored, as we say in quantum physics and in consciousness, on a biological hard drive, so to speak. And if we see the metaphor, when we talk about computers and so on, we store information like in data bits or binary numbers, ones and zeros, in different cluster. And we can see it's like a program. And if we imagine we have a biological hard drive and we store this information, this will then, after 7 years of age, become our subconscious. So when this will become our subconscious, this hard drive. So when we meet new things in the world, we meet new things, we will look back to what we learned to explain or judge what we see. Based on our hard drives in the rest of our lives. And this is running our lives for 98%, 24/7. Mm-hmm. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, decisions, who I marry, what I like for food, what clothing I like, what political and so on, is coming from there. And also the beliefs of good and bad, the evil or good, everything is in polarity. And what I've learned lately, I see that the source of evil, imagine it's gone. There's no source of evil, but the effects of it is still here. It's stored still in our behavior, our expectations, our beliefs. Mm-hmm. And I hear this from more and more people. It seems to be gone. The greediness and the evil that has been running our lives, and the systems created from psychopaths are, losing up. And therefore, I see it's very important to become aware that I have programs and I could deal with them and I could get rid of them, not from therapy, but from becoming aware. I have this information on my hard drive, and there are ways to change this.
So our job is to consciously access those subconscious programs that were put there, not by us. And that doesn't have to be bad programming. It doesn't have to be good. No judgment there. But you get to consciously access those subconscious programs. And now you can create whatever programs you would like from a point of awareness. That's what we're doing, correct?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So for instance, if we do an exercise, we can do a simple one, an easy one. It's like a fundamental thing you can try. It's very, very funny. And I can say, don't be so serious about it. Play with it. Just have fun with it and see what it can do for you. And the thing is, I often say, when I do the courses and I do the speeches and information, that this is the art of doing nothing. And if nothing works, do less. And that's very important, because we are taught to do things in order to make things happen. It's an action effort. Mm-hmm. But this is the opposite. Do nothing. So we just ask open-ended question, and we go into the field of infinite potential, the wave of potential. Uh-huh. It's a lot of wonderful things we can talk about concerning quantum physics, because when we are aware that everything has potentiality, we live in the field of potentiality. It sounds like mumbo jumbo, but this is science. I'm telling you science. I'm not making this up. You can check it if you want to. Then we become potent creators when we know this, because our thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions has consequences all the time. Okay?
Sure.
So you also create information from concluding things and so on. And that also strengthens your beliefs. So you can create good stuff and you can create bad stuff also. Mm-hmm. So for instance, if we play with something, it could be a physical thing. You can have pain somewhere in your body. It could be mental. You're afraid of speaking in front of people or so on. You're afraid of spiders or something, afraid of heights, anything. And it could be emotional. It could be a trauma. Mm-hmm. Something happened to you, creating feelings. Someone left you or did something bad to you, which is affecting your daily life, so on. And if everyone think about something of those three, physical, mental, or emotional, think about it now.
Okay.
How much pain can you experience now from that memory or from the pain you have now? So from a scale from 1 to 10, you measure. When 10 is very painful and 1, you can deal with it, you hardly feel it. So now you have measured, you have a number now. Mm-hmm. Now leave this. Now I'll ask you another question. Why do you have pain? Physical, emotional, or mental? Why? What's the story behind it? How was this created? How was this created? Tell the story now in your mind. Tell the story in your mind.
I didn't know if you wanted me to say it out loud or were everybody just doing it in their own mind?
Everybody do it for themselves. Okay. Everybody do it for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. Think about it. And if you see something more, what do you see then? Think about that now. So what we're doing now is connecting to the story behind the pain, the story which is stored on the hard drive, and start to move. You know, it's like you have a DVD record, you put it in the DVD player and put it on the TV set. You will hear music and see pictures and so on, and suddenly you will be drawn into the story. Mm-hmm. But it's only binary numbers moving, creating this effect. It's an illusion. Same goes here. When you become aware and you make a focus on the memory, it starts moving. And if you think about movie, it's called motion. And motion creates emotion when it's moving. Mm-hmm. So you feel the memory creates emotion, but it's just a memory, it's an illusion. Mm-hmm. So now we can take everything we know nothing about and also put up. And I say, when you take this information, I have this metaphor of we throw it up, what I say, storyboard or clipboard. Like you put the information on the storyboard. It's there. The next question is, if you see pain as a friend doing a job for you, working for you, it is there for a reason. Want to help you develop, maybe make a decision in your life. The pain doesn't work for you. It's a friend. It's not a problem. It could be the beginning of the solution. Are you then willing to receive the information this pain has for you? Yes or no?
Yes. I think probably a lot of people are conditioned to ignore pain.
Yeah.
They push through it. And I don't know if you guys have this saying over there, but in the States, there's a saying, especially when you're an athlete or you're working out, no pain, no gain.
Yeah. And you take a painkiller, but the pain can do things for you. Pain is very good. Think about it. Would you have every finger and toes and arms intact if you didn't felt pain in your life? No, you wouldn't. You would burn yourself, or So the pain is a good thing. It's very good to have. The pain is very good. It's not nothing bad, and it warns us to settle down and so on. So now, if you're willing to let go also of the gains of having pain, it could be conscious gains or unconscious gain or subconscious gains. It's different levels.
I know, as I've worked with people over the years, that's a really important question, because I think many don't realize that they are benefiting in some way by holding on to their pain and their disabilities. Then they get a check. They don't have to go to work. They've got people who do things for them. Maybe they have sympathy or empathy for the first time in their life, and they become addicted to that type of feeling. So being able to listen to the message of the pain and ask yourself, are you willing to let go of your gains? Those are the things I think you're referring to, correct?
Yeah. It is perfect. All right. There is gains in everything. Maybe if you have pain in your leg, you don't have to walk the dog late at night when it's raining, So the gains are very important to let go of. But some people don't want to let go of it, and that it's their free will to not let go. It's the free will to not do that. So the question is,
you can be addicted to the pain the way you can neurologically and emotionally be addicted to feeling healthy and good and all those other things. So emotions have addictions that are attached to it. Pain can be one of them, correct?
Yeah. And it also could be a story about your character, and you say, I'm a person always having pain. I will always have pain. I will always have pain in my back and so on. It's a character I'm building, and I will have it because my story and my beliefs is my wishes. Like the magic genie. Your wish is my command. So everything, all of your beliefs are your wishes. So the genie will deliver all the time. so to speak. So now we asked you, you measured the pain. You remember, you measured the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And you had the story about how the pain was created. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
And then we see pain as a friend. The pain doesn't work for us. It has a message for us. And are we willing to receive that message it has for us, the information it has? Yes, we are. And are we also willing to let go of the gains this pain has for us? Consciously, unconsciously, subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And are you also willing to let go of this now? So what we're going to do now is to go into the field, and I call it often the 0 point field. You can't measure zero, the 0 point field, or the field, by doing nothing. And you can, I do it for you now, and then I can say how you can do it. It's just how you observe things. So we do like the scientists did, just an observation. So I shift my point of view, my perception, how I see reality, and we will go into 0 point field now. And don't be afraid, it could happen things now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So by doing nothing, we're allowing the field, the 0 point field, the field of consciousness, to do a work for us. We do nothing. And this is nothing mystic to it, because I'm not into mysticism or dogmas or religion or New Age, it's nothing. Mm-hmm. This is just pure science, how when we observe reality from a different angle, it will shift. Mm-hmm. That's so simple, and it's very fast. So probably if people now listen to this, have had a sensation, maybe many of them, nothing happened, or it happened. We don't know that yet. And you can do this in many different ways, and you can see it as play with it, have fun with it, because you're playing with your consciousness. So it could be very, very powerful. And I witness a lot of what you could call miracles just in front of my eyes. I'm not doing it. They do it themselves. So this is not healing, and this is not process. There is no process. There is only choices. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is no process. If you make a choice, you made the choice, and it's done. Mm-hmm. Even if the effect could be delayed, it does not mean it's a process. It's just for your mind to adapt.
I see. I think you bring up some really great points here, because a lot of people don't want to do therapies. They don't want to go through these processes because people are scared of emotion, to relive the pain, the betrayal, the resentment. And who wants to get mired down in that stuff? So if you can make the experience fun, then I think people are more willing to do that. And if it's not a long drawn out 2-hour emotional, traumatic thing, then people are more willing to actively engage in the conscious process of
I'm lost there.
Oh, am I back?
I lost you. Okay. But I totally agree with you. I totally agree. I said often, we don't need therapy. Therapy and therapists and psychologists and so on, they can do a great job by finding traumas in time, in history. But we should not, relive it. Mm-hmm. We should not do that, because then we collapse the wave again to become a reality, and we feel bad again. Mm-hmm. So the best thing we can do is to be aware of that this trauma or this thing in my background has an effect in present time, but it's coming from information from the past. So when we lift information from the past, it's an illusion, it's a memory, it's information. You know, like a DVD record. You replay it, play it, but it's just digital number. It's past, present, and future is different. But when we make past equals to present and equals to future, we are victims from the past, of the past. The past will rule our lives, always.
So when people say...
That's my point of view, yeah.
When they say, I can't go back and redo the past, that's actually a lie under the projected reality, because since there is no time, technically, we can, and those emotions are still there, we can access it very much right now the way we could if we went back 30 years ago to when little Billy hit us with a stick, you know, and hurt our feelings. We can handle that today because there is no 30.
The most amazing thing about what... This is very interesting what you're saying now, because we can deal with it. Einstein has this equation proving that past, present, and future, we have access to past, present, and future at the same time. It's everywhere here. But mind created time on a line in order to stop everything from happening at the same time.
Okay.
But we have time in order to see what consequences our choice does. So we can learn from the choices in our life.
So time is a conscious creation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And because otherwise everything would be chaos if we couldn't see things as a time. This is a program, probably. This is a program. This is a virtual reality. And the rule is that we aged, you know. And I say often on my courses, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. Why is that? It's because if you ruled from your beliefs, from your feelings, ruling your life, it's a program, it's information, beaming information 24/7, telling you a story about who you are, what you experienced, that you're a victim, and so on, blah, 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 blah. It's a lot going on. But if we play with the time, if we play with time, we can travel in time. We can pretend we travel in time to the seed event, to the occasion when you so to speak, collapse the wave to become a physical reality, a trauma, an accident, or something happened back. If we go to the memory, we will find, metaphorically, a cluster of information, database cluster. And you could uninstall that. Literally, you could do that by doing an exercise. It's very easy. And you can also give yourself resources, potential, strengths you would have needed in order to avoid the trauma or the accident, blah, 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 blah. So you could literally, from present time, give yourself, in your childhood, those qualities. And you could install them. So I can explain it later, but it's very powerful, because what people does, they totally erase the effects of the traumas, so on. It will never, ever rule their lives again. And what they also do when they give themselves potentials, strength, and so on, is that they create new information on the biological hard drive to work from. So now you have potentials, you have strength, you have potentiality, and you can make totally different decisions in order for you can thrive in your life. Yeah, to become who you really are. Now, you are not the story of the accident. You aren't the story about the trauma. You're not.
Or the pain that resulted from the trauma.
No, you are not that person. You're not. No.
Well, so that's bad news for the pharmaceutical companies.
I can tell you they attacked my book.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I would imagine. The harm that has come from the benzodiazepines and all of those antidepressants, most people don't realize that the pharmaceutical companies have taken the same antidepressants, such as Prozac, and they just give them different names. Too much money has gone into the research of these pills, and so they put out these pills in waves, and then when that trend dies down, they take the pill, rename it, and release it under a different name. And people, if they knew how to do these processes, they'd go throw out their bottles just like that.
Yeah, I know. Think about it. They live in the old paradigm created in the midst of 1650 something. Mm-hmm. The belief that everything is primarily physical and created from dead matter, and from making diagnoses to make wars against diseases or pains and so on from chemicals. But think about this. When the computer age come with information, we talk about information, storing information and so on, and we can see this reality information-based, created from consciousness and information, and everything has information. We can uninstall, and we can work, we can add new information, and we can do a lot of things. They're flexible. Think about this. You don't treat a computer with data virus with medicine, do you?
No.
You don't treat information with medicine. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They treat information with medicine. They see us like chemical physical machines that only can be treated with chemicals or with surgery. That's it.
Yeah. Well, and they put out so much information.
Totally two different ways of seeing reality.
Oh, we're having kind of some technical stuff here. Will you say that again?
Yeah, I would say it again. Think about this. From the old paradigm, we've been taught from science of nature that we are living in a primarily physical reality, mm-hmm. that we are chemical physical machines, mm-hmm. and we can only be treated with chemical things, manipulations and so on, and with surgery. Mm-hmm. But the new paradigm tells us that we live in information-based reality, and we can take the metaphor. If you have viruses on your computer, you don't treat your computer with medicine. You uninstall the viruses so your computer can work properly again. Mm-hmm. The same goes for us. If we shift perception and see that our issues is information, mm-hmm. and not primarily physical, it could be pains, it could be anything. And we play with it, that it is information, and we ask those open-ended questions and become aware. Mm-hmm. Like you do a search on your computer and you find viruses, you can do a search in your own information system. Mm-hmm. And then you can uninstall it. And the pain is gone within an instant. It was an illusion. There is no pain. You know Byron Katie?
Yes.
Byron Katie, the work. Mm-hmm. She was so funny. I met with her once, and she wrote on Facebook, and she said, yes, I try to translate now. A lot of people take their lives so seriously that they even think they exist. You
stalled. You stalled. So you said a lot of people take themselves so seriously that they think they exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was her take on it.
Uh-huh.
Because she sees everything as consciousness, you know. Yeah.
Wow, what do people's egos do with that? That must be a shock to them.
Yeah, it is. It's very funny to work with this, yeah.
Do you guys have that saying over there, fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just put out some information, and I've talked about the conscious and the subconscious mind quite a bit in the various videos and so forth. And one of the things that I want people to understand is the subconscious really works by two ways: imagination and repetition. So one of the benefits of faking it until you make it, especially with repetition, is you get to, through imagination, create whatever you want and program your subconscious mind. But it's not just a 1 or 2 time affirmation. You have to be vigilant in your awareness to do that.
Oh yeah. So, I agree.
How did you get into the science of consciousness?
I think was there from the beginning, because when I was a kid, and I had a friend, and he hurt himself. My ego wanted to play with him, so I healed him, even though he broke his arm. It could be serious stuff, because I wanted to play. I didn't want him to go home and cry, so I did it. And afterwards, I did some reflection. What happened? How could I do that? How was that possible? But afterwards, I knew it was my intention to shift reality. I knew it was possible. I always knew it was possible.
Yeah.
I always knew that. It was some kind of inherent with me. I just knew it. And then I went into theater and so on, with creativity and so on. But I always read books of science fiction. I loved science fiction. Von Däniken and Semchitov and so on. I loved it. And it went on because it was some kind of interest I had always, even though I was reading plays and so on, and literature and so on. I still read books about what's the meaning of life, what is this, is there something else here, blah, 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 blah. So it walked by my side all the ways. And then I married my ex-wife now, Caroline, and she had the diagnosis of rheumatism, you say that, yeah? And they couldn't help her at the hospitals and so on. So she started her own research, how to get well. And from her research, she went into quantum physics. And we shared it. And so we started to travel around the world, to United States, to Germany, to Italy, around the world, to participate in educations and so on. And I slowly learned, and I was hooked. It was so interesting, and I felt coming home. Because what I've learned when I participated in those courses was that what I did when I was a kid was totally right. It was true, because when I was a kid, the adult told me, you can't do this. People will think you are crazy, and they will think we are bad parents when you do these things. So they stopped.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I think parents don't realize sometimes the kind of doors psychologically and spiritually they're closing on their children when the kids are not allowed to experience their full imagination.
Yeah, every parent wants normal children. They don't want abnormal children. So if the kid's running around healing people, it's abnormal. It's not in the dogma.
I have to tell you, my youngest son, when he was in the first grade, I had been working by that time with my kids on cloud busting. That's what we would do. We would go lay down on the trampoline, and I would work with them on moving clouds and creating shapes and commanding elements. And we would work on opening flowers and things like that. Well, one evening, his first grade teacher called me and said that my son had the majority of the first grade class out there looking at the sky and was teaching them how to deal with the clouds. And she didn't quite know how to say it, but she was concerned about that. And I just laughed it off. And I said, oh, aren't kids funny? Well, thanks for calling. Have a great evening. Because I wasn't going to change what I was doing with my children. I wanted them to learn how to master or work with matter and consciousness, but I just, adults don't quite understand that.
No. So she did not advise you to take your son to a doctor to medicate him?
No, I laughed it off and I thanked her for calling and sharing the funny story. And then I got off the phone with her and then my kids and I had a big laugh about it. He didn't call back.
No. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. One thing I discovered when you're working and talking about quantum physics is that it adapts to people because they feel happy. They feel happy because it resonates with something within them. And when they suddenly see they can shift things within seconds, and they have had it always, but just forgotten. You just people what they already can do. I lost you.
Yeah, I think we had a slow connection there, but I think people's innate sense of spirituality.
I lost you.
Are you there? Hello? Michael? Hang in there with us, folks, guys. It'll just go away in a second.
Try this one.
Okay. All right, guys, give us just a second. He will be right back. We're actually quite frozen. I'm not sure if he's going to be right back, so he may have to disconnect and recall in.
Hello.
There you are.
There I am. Yeah.
All right, I was just saying he may need to disconnect and come back in, and there you are.
But you is frozen still. Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
It's often when you move, it's stalling. Yeah. Then it's like it's, yeah.
When I move?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll hold still. But what I was saying is that I think their spiritual state, their natural state of being wants to be happy. They want to be uplifted in that higher vibration. So when we're carrying those emotions for 30, 40, 70 years of rejection, that's not our natural state. And I think that higher part of us, when given the opportunity, jumps at it in order to restore itself.
Yeah, it's very, very fast, because when you connect to the true source within yourself and you remind people of who they really are, they're instant. And they just can do it. Everyone can do this, like translation with it. Everyone can do it. So it's so fast. It's just under the surface. Yeah.
Can you put your earplugs in so we can hear you?
Okay. I will take my wire earplugs.
Okay. I want them to hear every word that you're saying.
Are you sure about that?
I am.
Are you sure about that? Okay.
It's like the voice of God reverberating through the
Yeah. Do you want me to repeat something?
Yes, please.
What did I say? I forgot.
About consciousness and returning to their state of being.
Yeah, when people are reminded of who they really are and their own potentiality, which they always have carried within themselves, but just forgotten.
Yes.
They're there instantly. Everyone can do this. We're born like this. We're extremely potent creators, all of us. But think about it. How would the world look like if they let us be that potent creators? They put in, psychopathic systems in order to hold your horses, So we will adapt to the systems, being slaves.
You know, and I've said this for a long time. I'm really passionate about decoding the illusions of this projected reality so that we can see things as they really are and who we really are. And who we really are amazing, infinite consciousness potential. And they know this. Otherwise, they would not spend billions and billions of dollars in deliberately dumbing us down through television, vaccinations, poison in our food. I mean, they go through great lengths to keep us from knowing who we are.
Yeah.
Why would they do it if we were not these incredible creators?
Yeah. Yes. And they do it through everything that you said, and also through science. What they tell us about reality. Who taught you about this reality? Whose reality do we adapt to and live in and believe in?
The controllers.
Yeah. And through media, they tell us who you are, what you think, and what you should think. And you do it. You obey. You do it. But
Have you heard of the fun vax?
Yes, I've heard about it.
Okay.
But I don't know what it is.
I have an article written on my website called Fun Vax, but the DoD, they've put out information recently in the last couple of years on being able to take a brain map of somebody's brain mechanisms and see exactly what's happening in the pineal gland, our spiritual center. And so what they've done is identified when somebody is religiously charged, and they call them, you know, this, they're after the zealots and so forth, that they can see in the brain map the pineal gland light up, and they are vaccinating through this evil dust. It's actually put out in order to attack the pineal gland and keep us from our spiritual center and well-being. They're vaccinating us against our spirit.
This is also, it goes with this, with the entanglement thing I told you about in quantum physics. First, I will once again said, I think the source of evil is gone, but the effects is still here. The effects are still here. So we really need to clean up within ourselves and so on. So even if there is a lot of people doing things which I don't think they know what they're doing, actually. I don't think they know. But think about this. Entanglement means that nothing is disconnected. Everything is connected in the universe and everywhere. We are not separate. Even though you're in Arizona, I'm in Stockholm, Sweden. It's a long way. We're still entangled. And the I think it was, if it was the Marines or the military in the United States, 1990 something, they did an experiment that took, do you say tops you have in cleaning your ears? Tops? Cotton tip. What do you say?
Q-tips.
Yeah. It took the DNA from a tongue from a person. I take your DNA, I put it in a measurement device that could measure the activity in your DNA, separate it from yourself. I put you in front of a computer screen, and the computer will randomly show pictures, creating feelings within you. And they measure your skin and your activity in your body and cell. So every time you create a feeling, you will have a reaction. You can measure the reaction.
Wow.
And at the same time, when you have a reaction, your DNA is also reacting. The DNA that is separate from your body, as if it was still connected. And they were surprised, of course, and then they increased the distance. So they end up from the East Coast in the United States to the West Coast in the United States. They passed Arizona also and came to West Coast, maybe San Diego or something. And still the same results. And sometimes the DNA reacted slightly before the computer showed the picture, as if it was aware of what picture was going to be shown. And the computer did not know, but the DNA seemed to know. So the question was, in what medium does this information from the owner of the DNA, how does the information travel? In what? In what?
Yeah.
Now they talk about the field. Everything is connected. There is no separation. Once connected, always connected. They talk about this. If an atom on Earth shifts spin, which is connected with an atom in the most faraway galaxy you can think about, shift spin, they shift spin at the same time, reversed. Mm-hmm. So there is no separation. Everything is connected. So the conclusion is there is never separation. It does not travel through anything except it's not separate. It's an illusion. It's separate.
That's incredible. I hope people take a moment to just absorb that.
And think about this. When you have a newborn child, they take a blood sample from your child to have in a blood bank. What do you say? Oh. They have it. They store it. And they can manipulate the blood in order to control DNA within your kid. I have a vet here in Sweden. He's a vet for racing horses. And when he treats horses, they win the races. And he does quantum physics, and he does this. He takes, if a horse has something with his leg or something, he take a small blood sample, let's say from under the wound, put it in a microscope. He's tracking the DNA within the horse's blood and shift it from observation, shift it to become healthy. He does it in the microscope. Mm-hmm. He working with the DNA. The same time, the DNA is fixed, is healthy on the microscope. The horse gets healthy. The same second. He doesn't need to treat and work with the horse. He works with the blood because it's entangled. So think about what they can do with your blood and how they can control you. Yeah.
That is so profound. It's shocking. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the potential and what they can do is absolutely incredible.
They know this.
In the hands of the psychopaths,
they know this. They know this already. So we have to become aware. They know all this, what we've been talking about today. They know all this. Mm-hmm. We are the ones who are waking up now. This is nothing new. I have said nothing new. Mm-hmm. Nothing is new what I've said. Mm-hmm. It seems to be, but it's not.
Right. Well, and Albert Einstein knew the importance of the effect of observing on experiments clear back then. He knew that would change the outcome of the experiment. So, and the Tavistock Institute has known all this stuff since at least the 18th century.
Think about who created the systems. Think about it. Think about that. Who are they? What's the purpose? What do they want? How do they see themselves? How do they see us? Who are we for them? How can they think they can do anything they want? How can they think that thought? Mm-hmm. For what? Science started 1650 with René Descartes in France, when the Roman Catholic Church was ruling Europe and everything. They burned people alive, calling them witches and so on. Mm-hmm. And Descartes was troubled by this, and he said, okay, we have to stop this. And in the Christian church, you couldn't be a doctor. It was only Jews and Muslims who could be doctors. It was forbidden for a Christian to be a doctor. You couldn't learn about anatomy and cut in dead bodies to learn about anatomy. It was forbidden. So they couldn't do research in science. And he said, one day, we had to stop this. So he said like this: everything that is materialistic, that is matter, that I can feel, touch, has a weight. is physical real, I give to the science. And everything that is esoteric, the Genesis and so on, I give to the church. And there was a negotiation, and the church finally agreed. But they was not allowed to talk about the Creator. Only the church was allowed to talk about the Creator. No one can own his or her own Bible. Only the priests, the highest priest, could do that. Mm-hmm. It was forbidden. So now they start the research. And think about this. Sir Isaac Newton, he had his apple, in his head. It was 1687 something. And here, then he invented gravity. Mm-hmm. It's an invention. And then the classical physician science started, mm-hmm. mechanistic science. Mm-hmm. But they were not allowed to talk about Creator and consciousness. Only that everything was mechanistic, like a machine. Mm-hmm. So look today, it's the same thing today. The highest priest you find in universities today, they guard the dogmas mm-hmm. about science. And there's 10 dogmas, and all are, it's not proven nothing. It's assumption, and it's guessings, and they call it science. Who are they doing this to us? Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to do research in consciousness then that we can affect reality and we can create reality. It's almost forbidden. Mm-hmm. It's forbidden all over the Western world. I think it's the same in Sweden, United States. I think it's the worst places in Sweden.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The science of nature is the biggest religion in the world today. And think about it. We have the Nobel Prize here in Stockholm.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Sweden was a country that invented a lot of things. A lot of things in the world. Refrigerator, propeller, everything. You didn't think about it, but it was technical in machines, a lot of things was going on here. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you see happening now with the sciences in terms of spirituality? Because they've been separated, forced separation for a reason. So that ought to give us our first clue. But what do you see happening now through these science technologies and our evolvement in spirituality?
I think very good things is ahead of us, very good things. I've interviewed almost all of the most famous scientists in quantum physics and physics, and I'm going to do a documentary film about this. This question is perfect because what they say, we are now shifting. Mm-hmm. Because what they said, I was in San Diego last summer on a big convent, and everyone was there. They were there. And what they said the last day, they agreed upon was, matter does not produce consciousness. Consciousness produces matter. And we now know this today. And the great universities in the United States, in Europe, they agree upon this. And now they started to do research. In Brazil, they do it. The government gives contribution to research in consciousness and a lot of things going on in Italy, in Germany, and so on. Mm-hmm. So things is shifting now. I think it's paradigm shift. It's going slow, but it happens. They can't resist anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think, I say it again, the source of evil is gone. Mm-hmm. And it will be easier and easier for us to progress in consciousness.
So it's going to pick up momentum.
Yeah. I think we can create a lot of fantastic, wonderful stuff from who we really are, from whom we are. We are fantastic being. We are fantastic. We really are.
If you could give us 2 or 3 maybe poignant tips or little tools that we can take with us today in order to learn from ourselves or expand consciousness, what would you suggest the viewers do? before they go sign up for your seminars and your classes? What can they do today?
It's a lot of things you can do. You can ask yourself the question I asked before. What is this reality? Who created this reality? Whose reality did I adapt and create and bought as my reality? Mm-hmm. What is reality? Open-ended question. Don't wait for the answer within your brain. Just wait for the awareness and consciousness. Mm-hmm. You will see it differently than you think. You're not within your brain. You're not there. You're receiving information, and you can receive it in different levels. This is a very important question. And also, if you have issues in your life, it could be with your economy, your relationship, your health, anything goes. Just ask, by shifting perception, mm-hmm. what if I could shift reality by going in meta perspective, watching myself within this reality, and ask the question, how can I shift this? How can I change this? Not asking question in order to get an answer. Ask the question in order to receive information, and it will shift by itself. Mm-hmm. It's a totally opposite of what we've been taught. And you can also, if you play this, your program, if they play it again, they can do the exercise we did, and if they did the physical pain, they can do mental or emotional. Do it all over again. It will work all the time. Mm-hmm. And listen to the question I'm asking. And the triangulation is doing nothing. It is, you're just observing 3 points. Finger, both finger at the same time. Then go to heart, your own heart. Mm-hmm. Third point. And then you want to observe your heart and both 2 fingers at the same time. Now you have 3 points. Just observe them at the same time. And wait for what I call a receipt. And the receipt could be a shift within your body. It could be an awareness. It's done. And you can just know. You can hear done. You receive information. You receive the receipt differently. And then you let go. It could take from 1 second to 10 seconds. It's done. Then you ask, this is an important question, what's the difference? Not the pain, but what's the difference in reality? It could be body temperature. It could be breathing. It could be sight. It could be hearing. It could be, And then you measure the pain again. And it probably decreased or it's gone. Train and have fun with it.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and don't be too serious about it. When you become too serious, you go into ego again, and you try to force things. Uh-huh. Play with it. Play, have fun.
I think that element of fun, that vibration of elation and joy and happiness, that helps in the shifting emotion. Yeah. Like you were mentioning, moves. It has motion. The E gives it motion.
Yeah.
So it's
fail and stay happy and do it again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suddenly it will work. Yeah.
And one day you'll wake up and forget that you had the pain in the first place.
Yeah. You've forgotten about it. But then you have new awareness and new consciousness instead of pain. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful place to end. Will you please tell us where we can find you? Give us your web information. Tell us a little about your seminars.
Yeah. You can find my website. It's in Swedish. I have an English. I'm working on the English version. It's www.instanttransformation.se or .com.
Okay.
So you can do it Google translation, perhaps. So it's www.instanttransformation.se or .com. And I will do seminars and courses now. Next month, I go to England. Mm-hmm. I'm over in Norwich. It's northeast of London, and also to Isle of Wight.
Okay.
It's a fantastic island to work. You can participate there if you want to. And I also will go to Italy, springtime, in Rome. So you can compare holiday with going a course. It's just 2 days, the foundation course, and the course number 2 and number 3. And I'm also writing on a new book. I will translate it into English, of course. And I will come with my film, my documentary film about quantum physics and consciousness as soon as possible. And I'm also working on a web education, so people can buy the courses on the web. And I will do it in English also. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I know not everybody has the means to attend a seminar in Europe, as wonderful as that would be. So if it's accessible online, I know many who would love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you are a trooper for being with us today. I know you've been working all day and it's your evening time. So I appreciate your expertise, your spirit, your consciousness. You've got such a beautiful soul, and I'm so grateful you were here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Madeleine. It was an honor to be on your program.
Oh, good. Good. Well, we'll stay in touch. I know we'll keep writing.
And I wish everybody listening to this program and to your program a miraculous lives and wonderful lives.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much. Everyone, thanks for joining us today. You can reach me at galacticstoryteller.com. My email is at gmail.com. And of course, you can find me on Twitter and Facebook. Like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And if you want to make an appointment, you're welcome to go to my website and hit the calendar page. If you have any questions, let me know. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate all the subscribers and everybody who participates. You guys take care, and we'll see you the next time.